I am so excited about Christmas. The last 2 years, we have gone back to the US for Christmas, and I haven't done really any decorating. And so this year, we're staying in South Africa, and I'm going to be decorating. And welcome to Flourish Evermore. Today is the video that I do in the middle of the month. So about every 2 weeks or mid-month, and then at the end of the month, I do videos on all my crafting makes, things that I'm working on and plans that I have for the upcoming months or even further on. Before we get started, I really want to tell you how much you all are appreciated. Those of you that have subscribed, have been with me from the beginning, are new subscribers, those who watch my video and hang on till the end of the videos, do Bible study with me. I really appreciate it. You are precious to me, and I do pray for you all often. Just to explain a little bit why I called my channel Flourish Evermore is because I feel like flourishing encompasses the whole person that God created us to be. From a relationship with Him, growing in our discipleship, being able to follow Him more closely, and also in the gifts, the talents, the abilities that He has given us for the glory of Him and His kingdom and the growth of His kingdom. And so I just believe that you flourish not only through Bible study, through knowing Him more, but also in just using the creative gifts, the gifts of the Spirit, the things that you are passionate about for Him. And so that is why I named it Flourish Evermore. My crafting is basically fiber crafts. I love to crochet. I started crocheting when I was young, really got a passion for it about 10 years ago, and learned how to knit, and I'm learning how to embroider. I do love photography though, and I appreciate art of all kinds. I have a friend, you may have seen the video that I did an interview with her on. I'll put a link up here. She is a cake decorator of note, makes beautiful cakes. I have another friend who uses watercolor and paints and is an artist that I could never be. I do have a friend who is a much better photographer than I am. She now lives in England, but I appreciate her artistic ability through photography. So all that to say, that gives you a little bit of insight into my channel and why it is a Bible study and crafting channel. So, as I said, it is the mid-November video that I put out for all my crafting. It is a little bit after the middle of November, but we were in Dubai, and then we got home from Dubai, and some things in our house broke and needed fixing. Our meter, we have what they call prepaid or pay-as-you-go electricity. We pay, we get a voucher, put the number in, so we pay for electricity ahead of time. The box broke, and then realized that our security cameras also broke. And it was due to lightning. Maybe that's what happened with the electricity meter box as well. But had to take care of that. Had a doctor's appointment that I needed to go to. And wanted to get a video out. Tried last night. Spur of the moment. Not a good thing where I'm concerned. Because I was all over the place. talking about one thing, then going to another thing and remembering something I forgot about the first thing. It was a mess when I don't make my notes. And so if you see me looking down, it is because I'm checking my notes to make sure I tell you everything. So I am so excited about Christmas. So the last 2 years, we have gone back to the US for Christmas, and I haven't done really any decorating. And so this year, we're staying in South Africa, and I'm going to be decorating. And so excited about that. And been watching some videos. One of the ladies that I watch, Pamela at Ginger Cat Crochets, she is doing a hashtag crovember, where all through the month of November she is crocheting for Christmas, and just got me even more excited about crocheting and for Christmas, and maybe some knitting. I don't know yet. We'll see. But the projects that I'm working on will come up during the time that I talk about my WIPs, my works in progress. For now, let's get started with the one finished object that I have. So my one finished object is the Jayda in Stitches Fair Isle Style Calendar Blanket for 2023. And Fair Isle is a type of crochet or knit where you make patterns or pictures and carry yarn through, changing colors. And that's what this blanket has been all about. And we are in the month of November. Her pattern for November, let me open it up. It is getting really big, really long now. But her pattern, I'll turn it around, for November is a sheep. I don't know if you can see it. The first time I saw it, I was like, is that a sheep? What is that a picture of? So hopefully you can tell that that is a sheep. And it's cute. And so, see if I can point it out. So you have I made my sheep black, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you have the black sheep, the eyes, the face, and the two little legs. And so that is the pattern for the month of November, the sheep. And I used for the blanket, so I'm going to put the blanket aside because it is so big. All right. So for this blanket, I used, or I am using, have been using this brand. It is by the company L Pure Gold, and it is a very soft, I think it says it on the label, quality that's as good as gold. And it definitely is. It is an extremely soft 100% acrylic yarn. So I made the sheep in the colorway Caviar. Really cool name for a black color. I like it. And this is Caviar. My main color that I am using is called, Irish Glen. I was thinking Fair Isle Style. Fair Isle Style. Irish Glen is the main colorway that I'm using. So the reason that I made the sheep black, it's actually the opposite of what Jayda did. She made her sheep white. I think she outlined it and kept the white in the middle. But I thought that the Irish Glen has got some, and I'll show you again, it's got some kind of pinks and blues and maybe greens running through it. And so it is not white. So I thought a white sheep would look funny in Irish Glen. And I could have, outlined it and carried white through, but I didn't want to work with all those bobbins. It would be actually double the amount of bobbins, and I didn't want to do that. And so I just decided that a black sheep with the Irish Glen face would work fine. You know, it's a cute little rosy pink face on the sheep. And so that's why I chose the colors that I chose. I used a 4.5 millimeter hook, and yeah, I think that's everything about that. We have one more month to go, the month of December, and then the border for it. And so it's been a really fun project. I am very glad that I joined in. I didn't want it to be this huge undertaking, so she does give you extra, some months, gives you extra patterns, tells you to make a sample, and then you can make a sample square, and you can make like a sampler blanket or something like. I just didn't really want to do that. Just wanted to add every month just to mark the year 2023 with this blanket, and it has been a lot of fun. And so yeah, I'm glad I joined in. That is my one finished object. So we're going to get on to our works in progress. Okay, for our my works in progress, the first thing that I have been working on, I worked on socks all through the month of October. So a fellow South African, her name is Mariette, and her channel is called Dibuafro. And I will put a link to her channel. She does a lot of knitting, crochet. She does some sewing. She has a great channel, and really chooses some fun patterns to do, and has had several make-alongs. I know she did the Socktober make-along. She has done the ranunculus sweater make-along. And in fact, I think it's going on right now. I'm just not ready to knit a sweater or a pullover just yet, but gonna work on it. So I have been working on socks, and I had a whip going that I actually finished in October, started two new socks, and have been working on that. The one was my husband's sock, and I think I showed it at the end of October video that I had finished. I can't remember if I was at the toe decreases or if I actually finished, but I'll show you again. This is his finished sock, one of the pair, and I absolutely love this colorway. This is from my Yarnable subscription from Hypnotic Yarns, and by the way, everything I mentioned will be in the description box below. So if I forget to mention that it's in the description box, it will be, because I have my notes. And so I will remember to put that in the description box below. But Yarnable is a subscription box by Hypnotic Yarns. And I think at the time, unless people have already responded, I think she may be taking new people on. But if not, you go to the website, you get on the waiting list, and as soon as places open, then you can get the subscription. I love the subscription. I have loved the colorways that you get. You can get, I think, DK or her plush sock. You can get 1 or 2 skeins, and the extras that she sends you are wonderful. She highlights other makers in her extras that she gives. So it's really great. So just to remind you all of what I did for my husband, it is the Crazy Sock Ladies Vanilla Sock pattern. I did a 2x2 rib for 25 rounds. The leg is 60 rounds, heel flap, gusset, and then I have my markers for the length of the foot, so that when I get to the second pair, I do it the same, so that it fits, and both of them fit the same no matter which foot he wears it on. So the heel flap gusset, I did use my method of picking up the gusset stitches and making sure there is no hole. I will put a link here to the video I have on using a crochet hook and making sure the hole is closed. And I want to show you, there you go. I don't know how well you can see that there is no hole there. And so I don't have to go back and try to sew it together. So that's his sock. I will be casting on the second sock and working on that, because for me, socks are a great project to take wherever I go. I did take it to Dubai, but because I use, which I haven't mentioned, I use a ChowGoo 2.5 millimeter 9-inch circular. When I get to the toe decreases, I change over to Magic Loop, but still use the ChowGoo circular needles, which are metal, so I don't take them on the plane in my carry-on. I pack them in the luggage that goes under the plane, but that way I have them when I get to wherever I'm going and can take them with me. And so I do take them, but I don't take them in my carry-on. And I cast on for my husband. I cast on 72 stitches, and I think that's the only thing I forgot. All right, so my sock. So for mine, I still use a 2.5 millimeter 9-inch circular. This is the Crazy Sock Ladies Coffee Morning sock pattern. I really love it. I mean, the texture, it feels so good. And I can't wait to start wearing them. Although I still have to finish. I've made it to the toe decreases, but I still need to cast on the second one of the pair. For mine, I did not do the cuff that is in the pattern. I just did the 2x2 rib, but I only, for me, did 20 rounds. And then I think, let's see, 11. I did 11 repeats of her 6-round pattern. So it's a 6-round repeat. I did 11 of those for the leg, got to the heel flap and gusset, and then I'm actually starting the toe decreases at the end of the 6-round repeat. It just kind of worked out that way. And I think for my foot, I do 44 rounds for my foot from the decreases after you pick up the gusset stitches. So I decrease till I get back to my 60 stitches, and then from there I do 44 more rounds for my foot. So that is what I did. Yarnable subscription. Again, I'm not sure what month this was from. My husband's sock it's called Bougie New Year, so it was from January of 2023. This one, I'm not sure what month it was from this year, but it is called Raspberry Cream, and I love it. I mean, even in the pattern, it's beautiful, but then if you just do stockinette, it is a beautiful colorway. So that is my first works in progress that doesn't have to do with Christmas. So now we are on to Christmas and my projects for #crovember. Again, Pamela at Ginger Cat Crochets. Please check out our channel. She's an amazing crocheter. She makes loads of amigurumis and does really well, finds fun patterns, and may, if you're not, like I'm not, amigurumi maker, but she may inspire you to make some. And so so she is doing her #crovember is all about crocheting in November for Christmas. So I chose to, during the month of November, which will spill over to December, to make 4 Christmas gifts. So because we're not going back to the US, most of the Christmas gifts for my family will be bought probably through Amazon or Etsy, but our co-workers have 4 kids. They're going to be here through December as well, and so I am making gifts for their 4 kids. And I'm doing some decorating, some crocheting to decorate the house for Christmas. So I am making, for the gifts, I'm making 1 blanket and 3 amigurumis. Told you I was inspired to make amigurumis. And I have started on the blanket because it is a blanket, even though it's going to be a lapgan. I started on the blanket because I knew it will take longer than the amigurumi. So the blanket that I am doing is called the Checkmate blanket. Here is a graph of what it is going to look like. And it is by Collins Handcrafts. I found it on Etsy. It is a paid for pattern. They give you the graphs, and I don't know, you can see close up that it is graphs that they do that. They give you the graph for the whole entire blanket, then they give you the graph for each square. Now each square is a 50 by 50 square, and so it makes, if you make a blanket, it will make a pretty large blanket. Whether you do single crochet, half double crochet, especially large blanket if you do double crochet. But you get the graph, so you can choose whatever stitch that you want to do. And you can even do knitting, and it would work for cross stitch as well because they give you the graphs for that. So as you can see, it says Checkmate, and then there are 3 of the chess pieces that they also have designed. So I did rework the pattern from 50 by 50 to 25 by 25. So I just on graph paper changed the pattern up. The letters were pretty easy, maybe except for K and M that have the diagonals. I had to draw and then figure out what blocks that I wanted to use for that. And then the chess pieces were a little bit difficult, but I outlined them and then marked the boxes that I wanted to do. So they're going to be a little bit more pixelated than his or this beautiful design, but and maybe one day I'll make the big blanket. But this way it is going to come out to be a 32 by 32. And then I want to do 3-inch border. I want to do a wooden, look like a wooden border. So I plan on using brown or maybe a variegated brown to give it kind of like that it's in a frame, like the chessboard is in a frame look to it. But I haven't decided on the brown yarn yet. So let's get to the yarns that I am using. I am doing the single crochet and carrying the yarn through. I am going back to the Caviar colorway by L Pure Gold. So that was the caviar that I used for the sheep and Jayda in Stitches blanket. And that's what I'm using for the Checkmate blanket. And then the white is the color Lily. You can see that. So L Pure Gold, 100% acrylic. It is DK weight. And I am using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook for that. So how about if I show you the blanket? Would you like to see the actual blanket? Here it is. All right. So this is, make sure it's facing the right way. This is how much I have done so far. So as you can see, I have done the bottom 2 rows that say Checkmate. There are 2 more rows of regular, just plain squares, the black and white squares. Then the last 2 rows have the 3 pieces, chess pieces scattered in there. So that is what it's looking like. You can tell that I'm carrying the yarn through, but I think it gives it kind of a fun texture. It'll make it thick and nice and warm when winter comes around. So yeah, so that's what it is looking like and how far I've made it this time. I think when I showed it in the last video, I had just started, so working my way through. This project I did take on the plane with me to Dubai. I carried the blanket and the yarn, the extra yarn in case I ran out. I put in the suitcase that was under the plane, but I had just enough to be able to work on it some during the trip over to Dubai. One of the things that I do is I put my crochet hook into a bag of pins that I take with me. They're cookies or markers that I use. And so I just put it down in there and have never had a problem carrying it. In fact, this time I was planning on, which are still plans, making washcloths, knitting washcloths. And I did put wooden knitting needles in, and I put them in with my cords, my charging cords, and didn't have a problem carrying those on the plane either. So yeah, so that is gift number 1, their oldest son who loves chess. He loves chess. So the 3 younger ones are getting amigurumis. I will put photos up. I am making for the littlest one. He loves Daniel Tiger, so I am making the Chubby Tiger plush pattern by Little Crochet Farm. It is a free pattern on their website, and I am using this Alize Veluto. So it is a 100% micro polyester, so like blanket yarn, chenille yarn, and I am using, for Daniel Tiger, I'm using orange. None of these have names to them. I'm using white for like the muzzle, and then the stripes will be this color, pretty color of brown. So Alize Veluto, 100% micro polyester. So it's going to be, for the youngest, a really soft plush toy. For the 2 middle, I am just making their amigurumis out of regular cotton DK yarn. So I'm making a bat for their daughter. She loves the color purple, loves bats and the color purple. So in the picture, the wings have pink in it, but I am changing it to purple. And so I am using this L Cottons, 100% cotton DK yarn. This colorway is called charcoal, so that will be the bat. And then for the inside of the ears and the wings, it is this pretty purple color because that's her favorite color. So that's for her bat. And for their son, middle son, I am making a crab. He loves crabs. And so I am, again, using L Cottons DK double knit yarn. And this colorway is called Ruby, so that will be the crab, the top part of the crab, and for underneath, the color fudge. So I'll tell you a little bit about fudge in South Africa, for those of you that are in the US or other countries where when people mention fudge, you think chocolate. Well, fudge here in the US has the consistency of fudge in America, that thick piece of sweet, but it is not chocolate. So fudge here in South Africa actually is this color. So All right, so those are my gifts, the crocheting I want to do for Christmas gifts. So now on to Christmas decorations. All right, so one of the things that I wanted to make was a garland or bunting to go across a shelf in my living room, my lounge. So I found this granny square garland. It is by pattern. It is by Fiber Flux. It is called Festive Grannies Garland. And you make cute little granny squares. You put a tassel. So yes, I haven't sewn in my ends, but you put a tassel and then you string them together from the corner, and the tassel will hang down here from this corner. So I made 4 varieties. So I made a solid green with a red center. Then I made variegated green. So the green, let me just go through the colorway names. This green is called Springbok green, and the variegated is called green and gold, and with the red center. The red happens to be called cherry red, and the white is lily. Then I made red colorway, so red on the outside, and the ones that have red on the outside have both the solid Springbok green and the variegated green and gold. So I have got 4. Let's see if I can hold them all up so you can see them. There we go. Make my hands work. There you go. So I have 4 varieties of these. So I'll show you the yarn I'm using. It is Charity Pull Skein Double Knit, and it is 100% acrylic yarn. And the colorways, again, the red is cherry red, the variegated is green and gold, the solid green is called Springbok green, and the white is lily. So the Springbok green, this is what it looks like. The reason Springbok, so Springbok is one of the antelopes here in Africa, Southern Africa. It is it's a small antelope, and it's brown and black and white striped antelope, and spring, it does jump, and it can jump very high. The reason the colorway though is green is because when you make the national team in any sport, you are called a Springbok. But our rugby team, especially that won the Rugby World Cup this year, are called the Springboks, and they wear a Springbok on their shirt. Now, our cricket team is called the Proteas, which is a flower. But even in track and field or athletics, when you make the team, you get your Springbok colors, which means you get green and gold, which are the colors. The soccer team, the field hockey teams, rugby teams, cricket teams, even though they're called the Proteas, they wear green and gold. It means you've made the national team. And so that is why the green is called Springbok green. All that to explain why a green would be named after a brown and black and white antelope. So there you go. So I've made those squares, and then I made stars. I found a pattern. So the granny squares again are by Fiber Flux. And then I found a pattern for stars. And so I have made sparkly stars. This is Jayda in Stitches Granny Stars pattern. And I think her video is not from 9 years, if I remember correctly. It's from 9 years ago. So this pattern has been around, and it is a great pattern. Extremely easy to follow. I watched a couple of other Granny Square. I don't remember who they were from, but every row was just slightly a little bit different. This one, every row is pretty much the same, except for where you make it come in so that it looks more like a star instead of a hexagon. I did change 2 things with this pattern. She chained 6, and so the hole in the center was pretty big. I wanted it to be small to match the granny squares, to be more closed in, so I did a magic ring, but that doesn't change anything else about the pattern. And then when she did the attaching in to make it more pointy like a star, she did a single crochet and I did a slip stitch. Those were the only 2 things that I changed about the pattern that she put out. So as you can tell, hopefully you can tell that there is sparkle to these stars. And this is the yarn that I used. It is called, sorry for the price tag in the middle, but it is Kismet, which is a yarn from Turkey. It is called Lollipop Twinkle DK. And this, hopefully you can tell, sparkly yarn. This color is emerald green. And there's a lot of cherries going around. This sparkly red is called Cherry. And so that's what I'm using. I will put up a picture of an idea that on how I want to mix the granny squares, and just the granny squares will have the tassel, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then the stars. And so I'll put a picture up that shows kind of my idea of how I want to arrange them on the garland or the bunting. But I'm up to any suggestions. If you have a different suggestion of how I can mix them together, I'd love to hear it. My idea was not to put green next to green and red next to red. And so talking about for the granny squares, the outline, the last round. If it's red, I didn't want a red star or another red granny next to it. And so that's kind of what I was thinking with the way I was going to arrange that. So for the tassels, she puts a wooden ball. She makes a tassel, puts a wooden ball in, and then attaches it to one of the corners of the squares, not the star, the squares. So my idea with this is when there's red on the outside to do a green tassel, whether it's variegated, and I may mix the greens, the variegated and the solid together, but put a green tassel on the red outline, and then if it's a green, whether it's the variegated or the solid, putting a red tassel. And I bought these little shiny balls. The wooden balls that they had at my local crafting stationery store, I didn't think the holes were big enough, and I couldn't find a size that I liked. They were either too big or too small, but I thought these pretty white shiny ones would bring out the white in the center of the granny square. So that's the tassel I am going to do. So like I said, any suggestions that you might have for tassels, for arranging the garland, I would love to hear them. So plans for more decorating. So these stars, so on our gate outside, so our house, we have a wall. There's walls around all houses here in South Africa, walls or what they call palisade fencing. But our wall, we have garage doors, and then we have a walk-through gate. But outside, there are no electrical outlets. So one year I put up battery operated lights, but when it rained, water got into the battery and shorted it out, and so I had to keep changing batteries. I put it in a Ziploc bag to try to keep the water out. It just didn't work. The last time we decorated, I put them on our back gate, our security gate on our back kitchen door, but nobody sees it. So not sure what I'm going to do this year about decorating doors or windows, but I was thinking on that walk-through gate to make a garland of just sparkly stars to hang on the gate and give some decoration that people from the road can see, a little bit of sparkle, even though they wouldn't be able to see it at night. But that's okay. It's summertime here, so we don't get dark really in December about 7 o'clock. And so lights are, because of that, not such a huge thing to decorate with on the outside of your house. Plus the fact there are no electrical outlets outside. So that's one idea, that I need to get the blanket, the amigurumis done first and foremost before anything else gets started. Although the garland for inside the house, I'd love to finish so that I can hang it when I decorate after Thanksgiving. Another idea is I want to do a garland for our kitchen window. We don't have a curtain in that window, and I thought it would be pretty. I've seen some different designs, not necessarily Christmas, on Pinterest. So I thought it'd be fun to make a garland or attach some motifs together to hang on in our kitchen window. And would love to get that done. I did buy cotton yarn when I was in Dubai. I went to a yarn shop and found some yarn art, which I love yarn art. I love their flowers, cakes that they have, but this is called Yarn Art Creative. It is a DK weight, my favorite, and it is 100% cotton. I'm trying to look at, yes, 100% cotton. These are 50-gram balls. The colors don't have names, or if they do, they're in Turkish and I can't read them. So I got this green. That was the best green they had. I got a white and I got a red to do some Christmas, maybe coasters, just granny squares. I'm thinking make it simple granny squares, and also maybe even, if I have time, I will knit some washcloths. I love knitted washcloths. I found on Nimble Needles. He has a video on the moss stitch and making a washcloth with it, and I loved it. I use those washcloths all the time. They stay together well, which of course has a lot to do with I use cotton yarn, but they don't stretch too much or get holes in them, and they're very good to use in the kitchen. And so thought I could even, after making coasters, make some washcloths with this. Even if I don't get it finished for this year, I can use it next year. So that's Yarn Art Creative. I have never seen it here in South Africa. If anybody has ever used it, I'd like to know what you think about it. So that's it for plans upcoming, and I do have plans for the new year, but that will come in another video. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you are enjoying, if you're participating in the hashtag crovember, if you're enjoying getting some things done for Christmas, whether it's decoration or gifts or whatever it is that you are enjoying crocheting the month of November. And we'll see you at the end of the month. Hopefully I'll have a few more finished objects. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.